All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we're going to talk about the Bengals and seeing another Instagram post. So, Raiders are actually going to have a lot of cap space this offseason. So, they could definitely go out and spend. Potential target, free agent target could be Chris Godwin. So, just something to note. I know we'll definitely take a look at some point, where every team's cap space situation is at, who's going to spend a lot in the offseason. We'll definitely take a look at that because we're going to have a lot of time with football nearing the end. Also, make sure to tune into the Pro Bowl. We had the skill challenge last night. There was a spike competition. That's where we're at right now, a spike competition. Now, Mahomes, he would not have won that based off of the spike that he had in the game on Sunday against the Bills. But anyways, let's get into T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Let's get into that conversation. So, the GM of the Bengals spoke about, the likelihood of keeping both of these guys. And it's going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult to keep both of them. And Jamar Chase had an unbelievable season. Triple crown. T. Higgins, like he has for most of his career, he missed some time. But when he did play, he was great. So Duke Tobin, the GM of the Bengals, he addressed the situation. So he said, it's going to be hard. We feel like we have the resources to do it, but it all depends on how the negotiations go and whether they're willing to accept wanting to come back at a number that makes sense for everybody. And you know what we could do with T. Got cut off here. I got to read the whole. Oh, yeah. T going forward. I've always been very upfront in my desire to have T. Higgins on our team. Actually, no. This is the director, Bengals director of personnel, Duke Tobin. So that's what he said. It is tough. It is going to be very tough to try and keep both of these guys because, T. Higgins is going to want to get paid. Jamar Chase deserves to get paid more than T. Higgins. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Oh, no, Duke Tobin is the general manager. Because in the article it said director of personnel. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it is going to keep. It's going to be tough to keep both. It's going to be tough to keep both. You already paid Joe Burrow, and you got to keep at least one of them. And I would lean towards keeping Chase. Chase stayed relatively healthy this year. T. Higgins every year is hurt. And on top of that, the Bengals, they need to fix this defense. Because that defense was not good. It was pretty bad, and that's the main reason why they didn't make the playoffs. Because you had an offense that was so elite this year, and then you had a defense that was the polar opposite. They couldn't get any stops. And they lost a lot, and they still, with how bad their defense was, they still had an opportunity to win a lot of games, but they were on the losing end of some really tough games. The two games against the Ravens, and I mean, when you have the Steelers and you see how they finished out the year, the Steelers come walking into your home stadium, right? And now, there was a defensive touchdown in the game, but the Steelers put up 44 points on you at home, and we saw how they struggled offensively to finish out the year. It was bad. And, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, they had their coming out party against you on that Monday night. They got to fix that defense. And you don't want to fall into the trap of most of your I mean, it's kind of like the Cowboys with, Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. You don't want to have just a couple or a few guys taking up most of your cap space because then you can't go out and build out your roster. Defense, they need to patch up. It's just unfortunate because, you saw. I mean, the Bengals offense still was good without T. Higgins when T. Higgins missed time, but when you have T. Higgins there, it makes a difference. They're a great duo, him and Chase. Because when you have both of them on the field, defenses are like, all right, well, we got to pay it. We got to double Chase, and then you have T. Higgins one-on-one, or vice versa, whatever. Now you lose T. Higgins, and it's like, all right, well, now we just got to try to take Chase out of the game. Which, I mean, look, the Ravens on that Thursday night. I mean, Chase had 260 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now the Ravens defense got better as the year went along after that game, but still, I mean, and that was without T. Higgins. And, you're hearing the reports about Jermaine Burton, the rookie wide receiver who had a very disappointing year and some off-the-field issues as well. Bengals talking about how, he hasn't really earned a roster spot. He's going to have to try to earn it next year. Otherwise, he's going to be gone. I mean, Yoshivas was okay for them. He made plays for them this year as their number 3. And this is after losing Tyler Boyd. And Tyler Boyd probably regrets signing with the Titans. Mike Gesicki was a good pickup. Chase Brown was a huge surprise for them. So, I mean, even if T. Higgins leaves, you still got talent. But you're going to have to bring in another receiver through the draft. It's probably what they're going to end up doing. But they're going to pay Jamar Chase. I mean, they have to pay Jamar Chase. You can't. I mean, they're not going to lose both. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough process. And I thought there was a report out there that maybe T. Higgins would take less. But if he can go elsewhere, make a lot of money, be the number 1 guy, I mean, it's hard to say no to that. The Patriots could be a team. I mean, maybe the Chargers. Chargers need wide receiver help. Maybe he goes to the Bills. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing teams out there. But I know the Patriots are a team that definitely could be a possibility because they are a team that is desperate for help at that position. And you got a young quarterback that you want to surround them with talent. And, they brought back Josh McDaniels, the Patriots did. And I don't think he's that bad of an offensive coordinator. Did well with Mac Jones his rookie season. Now you bring in him to help out Drake May. You bring in more weapons. And, the Patriots, and obviously Vrabel now is the head coach. The Patriots got something going again. There's going to be a lot of teams trying to get T. Higgins. And if the Bengals are able to work it out, that would be great. Because, that trio of Higgins, Chase, and Burrow, that Chargers game during the year, Chase had a couple of touchdowns and T. Higgins had that touchdown, that long touchdown. I mean, the Bengals offense, when they're clicking, they are fun to watch. Well, not even that. Even the Broncos game, which was one of the best games of the year. But the Chargers-Bengals game, I just thought of that because that was a fun game too. But yeah, Bengals-Broncos, that was a fun game. T. Higgins catches the game-winning touchdown, and he had another touchdown before that. They are just a fun team to watch. And it's just, it kind of stunk not having them in the playoffs. But you know what? They did it to themselves. If you would have just beat the Patriots the first week of the season, you would have been in. You would have been in. Now, I don't know if they would have beat Buffalo, but they still would have been in. It's amazing how much of an impact that game had because the Patriots would have had a higher draft pick if they would have lost, and the Bengals would have been in the postseason. And T. Higgins didn't play in that game. It looked like Jamar Chase might have not was not going to play in that game because of he was still dealing with the contract stuff, and I think he popped up on the injury report too. But anyways, yeah, it is going to be tough for the Bengals to figure this out. They're definitely going to keep Jamar Chase. They're going to prioritize paying him, and T. Higgins is unfortunately going to be on the wrong end. And he's going to end up going elsewhere. Now, he's going to go to if he goes to another team, he's going to get paid a big contract. It's just not going to be with the Bengals. So we'll see what happens. I hope that T. Higgins comes back because, like I said, when you got this offense clicking, it's a lot of fun to watch. But you know what? It's a business. So if he ends up going elsewhere, so be it. It is what it is. But let me know what you guys think about this. Can the Bengals work it out with T. Higgins? Do you think that maybe they can get something done? Maybe he takes a little bit of a discount to come back because obviously they franchise tagged him before the year started, but they're not going to do that again. So T. Higgins could be, or maybe they do tag him. I don't know. But right now, I would say T. Higgins is probably gone, and they're going to pay Jamar Chase. But let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. So we are going to take our final break of the show now. And when we come back, we're going to talk about something a little bit interesting, and that is, could AI replace the chain gang? The Hawkeye tech that they actually used in the preseason. We'll talk about that and, if that should be implemented, which I'll tell you right now, yeah, should be. Just get into that conversation to end off the show here for today. So for one final time today, make sure to stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.